Welcome to Discourse, a podcast about music as a medium for conversation. Our guest today is probably the coolest person I know. Greg Hanna has been playing bass professionally since he was 14. So you were a member of the Dickies. You played in a band with D.H. Peligro of the Dead Kennedys. You've played with John Five, Pete Anderson, and you played on tracks that have been all over television and media. So you've been around.
Little bit, yeah.
So how did you really get started? So your dad was a professional musician, correct?
Correct. My dad was a first call jazz drummer in the Detroit area. So, music always in the home. I remember him playing 6, 7 nights a week. And then, when I was getting a little bit older, he was playing in some other bands. He was playing a little bit of everything besides jazz at that point, like top 40 and rock and country. And um, I started taking bass lessons, literally like 2 lessons. And he had a gig one night, and their bass player couldn't make it. He goes, "Grab your bass." I was like, "Okay." So, 14 years old, um, playing in some bar that I shouldn't have been in because I was 14. Not that I was drinking or anything. And the band leader would look at me and say, "Okay, this one's key of G, you know?" And it's like, well, I had a 50-50 chance of hitting the right notes, you know? So turn it down a lot more and just like barely play it, okay, you know? And then you make it, you know? So it was, besides taking lessons and all that, there was a lot of like sink and swim, throw you out in the water and learn, what they call standards,
Mm-hmm.
songs that like every band plays for like at wedding gigs and you know uh, venues where they play 4 sets a night, everything like that. You got to know uh, a blues chord progression. It's a great way to learn all your must know what to do and how to play it. So it was an amazing education for a 14-year-old.
Yeah, that sounds incredible. So these days you've settled down a bit. You spend most of the time with your family and customizing
Yes,
Hot Wheels.
I do. Yeah. Besides being into music when I was a kid, still am. I'm into cars, love cars, always loved cars, always loved building model cars, and getting busy with family and everything like that, and space constraints, building models take up a lot of space and a lot of time. And like about 10 years ago, I discovered people customizing Hot Wheels on Instagram, and I'm like, this is me now. So that's what it's a great side hustle. It's a great hobby. So it's just a lot of fun. So
Excellent. I love those niche hobbies that I feel like you always end up with like oddly tight knit communities that, are full of people who would never meet otherwise.
I agree. And I love little tight knit groups like that. And I also love that a lot of people within these groups, if there's a need, they'll create it. Like there's a lot of guys that will print decals and sell them, or print 3D parts, things like that. So I love when the cottage industry spring up around it too.
Absolutely. So our theme for this week honors your hobby. It's cars. Uh,
Excellent.
so let's go ahead and get started.
All
Um,
right.
starts in three, two, one. All right, so Greg's first pick is Little Deuce Coupe by the Beach Boys. It was released on Little Deuce Coupe album on Capitol Records in 1963. Greg, tell us about the song.
Well, wow, where do I start? Um, Brian Wilson, to me, is one of the best composers of history, let alone pop music. But the reason I picked this song is their singer, Mike Love, was really into hot rods, really into the surf scene. And there's nothing I love more than docudrama, and this song has it in spades, where they're listing, you know, how they built the car. It's a 32 Ford. It's got a competition clutch with a four on the floor. So this resonated with everybody in the middle 60s. So um, that's the reason I picked it.
Excellent. The Beach Boys is one of the bands that I grew up listening to, and my dad is a car nut too. So I love the selection.
Yeah, I mean, and then they have so many other songs like 409, Shut Down,
Yep.
Fun, Fun, Fun. Um, so besides the music and the singing, which is incredible, they really nailed it with the lyrics and capturing that era. So
Excellent. All right. This next song is Life is a Highway by Rascal Flatts. This is Raja's selection. It was released on Me and My Gang with Lyric Street Records in 2006. Raja.
Yeah, when I heard the thing with Cars, the first thing I thought about was the movie Cars. This came out in when I was in middle school, and when I think about cars, I think about travel, and I love traveling. And so when I was little, being on a highway meant we're going somewhere different, a new state, a new place to visit someone. And this song is just a great song about like life transitions and going with the people you love and care about. So I was like, the vibe is great. It's happy. It's a great song.
Yeah, it's excellent. So Rascal Flatts is more country than I usually go, but this is a great cover.
Right?
Um, uh, so what about Rascal Flatts? Um, do you really connect with, like, is this a band that you like a lot, or is it just the
It really was
association with the
just
movie?
this song. This
Okay.
song, the highway traveling. Um, and of course, it was on the soundtrack of the movie. So when I heard it, I was like, oh, this is my jam. And I was first going to middle school. That was like a big life change. And this song just was like, if I had to pick a song for this moment, I'm in. And it's always been something I turn back to when I need a little pick me up. So, yes, traveling. Life
Excellent.
is literally a highway.
It
And of
is.
course, you can't complain with Rascal Flatts. So,
Yeah. And I love all the Pixar movies. So
yeah.
like, and my nephews always like they hit a certain age and they get obsessed with the Cars movies. It's really a
Yeah.
great connection.
And yes, I've seen all of them.
Excellent. I have not.
Yeah, they're really good. Like kids movies definitely still include um themes and jokes for adults, so you'll find something to connect with.
Yeah, I do love that. Greg, have you seen the animated movies?
I've seen. I don't know if I've seen one start to finish. My son sometimes when he puts a movie on, we might see 5 minutes of it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But I'm definitely familiar with it, of course. And but what this song reminds me of is if anybody here watched The Office, um, there's a great scene with this song. So
Oh, I haven't seen that. That's nice. There's an Office episode for everything, isn't there?
yes.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, this is a longer song, so we're gonna jump to the next one. All right, this is Carla's pick. It is Fast Car by Tracy Chapman, released on a self-titled album on Electra Asylum Records in 1988. Carla, tell us about this song.
Well, I first heard this song from a friend of mine when we were at a writing convention. And like it just kind of I was so young. I was like 21, and back then it sort of vibed with me, but I think at different times of my life it has also just had like an impact. It's kind of like you listen to a song once and it means something, and then you listen to it another time in your life and it means something different and it resonates in different ways.
Oh, definitely.
And last year, actually, Tracy Chapman won Best Song at the Country Music Awards, and she was the first Black woman to do so, which is wild because this was released 30 years ago.
Right?
And only now, after like Luke Combs, like David a New Life and everything. So then I listened to it again when she played it live with him. I think it was like at the Grammys, and again became like obsessed with it. And every time I think about cars or road trips, this song is like top in my playlist because I think it's just such a good song about growing up and like overcoming obstacles and life not really turning out the way you plan it. So,
Absolutely. I remember seeing
yeah.
an article about the cover when she won and how
Yeah.
I don't know the new artist, but like he purposely like didn't make any changes to the song so she would get more credit on it, which I think is really
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, yeah. And she's a very private artist too, so I think like sight like a lot of people thought she was dead for a while because it's
Oh
kind of like a
wow.
generation. Yeah, it's kind of this generation of artists that like make music and then sort of that music lasts forever and you feel like it's kind of like that music has been a part of your life forever, but you haven't really seen the artist much. So a lot of people are like, "Oh, I thought she was just done and she's just very private." Um, so I was happy to see her like live, and get these accolades that she got to from the song, and then just I don't think any other lyrics are as catchy as this, like, we got a fast car. It's like every and that other line that she has, which is, and I think that I belong and I think that I could be someone. I think that line really hits all of us at different times because there might have been times where we might have felt like we didn't belong or, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really relatable.
Yeah. It's really long too.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a very nice mellow vibe though. Like sometimes you need a
Yeah.
song like this. You really do.
It's like a driving song too, I feel.
Oh,
Like
yep.
if you're on a road trip.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love road songs.
What year did this come out again?
This
88.
yep, 88.
Yeah.
Yeah. How amazing! I mean, still stands up perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, on to the next song. This is this song has a really long intro. It's like 2 minutes of comedy. But
Okay.
so it is "Bitchin' Camaro" by the Pet Shop Boys. It was
Classic.
released on Big Lizard in My Backyard on Quid Ergo in 1985. So I mentioned my dad is really into cars. Camaros were his primary growing up. I think
Nice.
he had a 67 Camaro when he was younger that he really wanted to get again. But in high school, he actually made me put a playlist together for him, and I burned CDs. It was his Camaro playlist, and this was on there.
That's
So,
awesome.
uh, it has a place in my heart because of him. Um, but like the intro is this long kind of, honestly, it's kind of cringy now. Stand up thing with two of the singers. Like right here, they're doing a impersonation of oh, what's his name from The Doors?
Morrison.
Um, Morrison.
Yes, Jim
Yeah,
Morrison.
Jim
Thank you.
Morrison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for any young kids listening, like you should know who Jim Morrison and The Doors are. There's a great movie. I'm gonna forget his name again too. Who played
Oh, Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer? Thank you.
Okay.
I'm really bad with names, so I'm gonna need everybody to help me. I
Yeah.
apologize.
Me too.
Like V.
Yeah.
His name starts with a V. Um, but it's really fantastic. So Dead Milkman So going through this, here we go. What kind of car it
Yep.
is? It's a bitchin' Camaro. All right, here we go. So now it's a great little jumpy song about a kid with a Camaro who has no business driving and can't get in trouble because his dad's the mayor. So I love it. So I really like songs with this kind of comedy to them. I think that's a recurring thing with me. Like no matter what the genre, if you can work jokes in there, you're gonna get me.
Yeah, Dead Milkmen nailed that whole humor and punk rock
Oh,
thing.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Like Punk Rock Girl, amazing song.
I
Uh,
love that song. Yeah.
all right, well, that's round one. We're gonna take a quick break and do a word from a sponsor. We don't have any sponsors, so I'm just gonna talk about some random company I like. Today we're doing a free promo for Tidal. Tidal is a streaming platform that is similar to Spotify. They started as one of the first companies to stream high resolution audio. Jay-Z bought them for a few years. Now he's just on the board, but they pay artists more than most streaming platforms. So their average payout per stream is like twice what Apple pays and like 2.5 times what Spotify pays, which per stream it's still really low. It's like 0.013 cents. um, but I still feel like it's more supportive of artists, so I really like it. And we actually are using Tidal in production right now. So Tidal, sponsor us. All right, we're gonna start round two. Here we go, back on. This is Thunder Express by MC5. It was released on Thunder Express on Jungle Records in 1999. Tell us about it, Greg.
Well, you can't have a song about cars without a band from Detroit, MC5. Although I think that release is from, what'd you say, 99? I think they originally recorded this like in 69 or 70.
Ah, okay.
Um, and just like with Iggy Pop, um, one of the ultimate pre-punk rock bands, you know. Um, and I love this song, of course, because again with the docudrama, with talking about having a 454 and a Voodoo Heads and Swifter Shifter and all that, and it's just a blues. The song isn't overly complicated, but it's just straight up rock and roll. And if anybody out there is not familiar with MC5, you need to get familiar with them. Amazing songs and really raw, and definitely kick-started punk rock before punk rock was even a thought. So hope you guys enjoy it.
Yeah, so the track I'm familiar with is Kick Out the Jams.
Yep, that was their big
Um,
one. Yeah.
but other than that, they're not like a household name for me.
No,
But
not for a lot of people. Yeah, it's there's no middle ground with MC5. Either they're one of your all-time favorites or you've never heard of them. There's no middle ground. So
gotcha. Um, so MC5 stands for, is it Motor City 5?
Motor
Is
City
that,
5,
yeah?
that's it.
And your family is from Detroit. You said
Yep.
your grandparents
Born in
worked in them.
Yep, all my relatives, everybody worked for either GM, Ford, or Chrysler. So
Nice. A lot of family history there. So this song in particular, how did you first hear about it?
just listening to old MC5 records. You know, I
Okay.
think I probably first got ears on it, you know, my early teens, you know, 15 or 16, something like that. Um, I had a buddy with some older brothers, and they had a bunch of cool old records that kind of like uh, slid me from the Beach Boys to more things like this, and then slid me into more like what was going on at that very moment, like the Dead Kennedys and Black Flag and things like that. So,
Nice. Does it make you feel like really nostalgic or any other way listening to songs like these?
um, yeah, sometimes. I mean, there's uh, there's some songs like there's a band called the Circle Jerks, and they have an album called Wonderful. And if I put that album on, it takes me right back to uh, spring of 1986 and skateboarding at that particular like in March. I don't know why, but that's another amazing thing about music, you know.
Absolutely. Just kind of captures moments in your life.
Yeah, and you don't know it until years later, you know. At least for me.
Absolutely. Are there specific lyrics in this song that really grab you?
Oh yeah, the second verse when he says, "I have a LS7 454 with an inky cam, voodoo heads and a swifter shifter, pop the clutch, wham." And it's just like, and again with older friends, with older brothers that had cars during this period, like your dad with the Camaro, you know, all
Yeah,
my uh, all my buddies with older siblings. It was just all, you know, it was like watching that movie Dazed and Confused, you know.
absolutely.
Great band.
All right, we're on to the next track. It is Throw Some D's by Rich Boy. It was released on Rich Boy on Interscope Records in 2007. Raja, talk to
I love
us.
this song.
Yeah, the intro is like funny to me. Um, just when people had like conversations or phone conversations, it reminded me of how people would record songs before their voicemail to have some personality. But this song in particular made me think about like when people customize their cars, also like the summer, and just a really popular song from my youth before I could drive, but this song was everywhere, and you would see people, especially with a new car, would customize it with these larger tires, the rims, um, and then of course like when people started learning about spinners. But when I think about cars, I think about people customizing their cars and the whole culture surrounding car customization. And this is one of those songs that made me think about it. And I also love the Flo Milli has a song also called Bees, and she uses the same song, the beat specifically, and with Rich Boy's co-sign, was able to bring this song back into the airwaves. But she was specifically talking about it from um, breast augmentation. So it's funny how different songs and different customizations people think about. But also just a great beat and summer song.
Nice. This is a song I'm not familiar with. Um, Tell us more about Rich Boy, the artist.
Well, Rich Boy, as an artist, this is one of the only songs that I really listen to from him, and I was reminded of it because of Flo Milli. So I was kind of introduced to him,
Oh, okay.
reintroduced to him through Flo Milli. So she's a newer rapper, and he appeared in her music video, and I was like, he looks familiar. Not picking up on the song where it originally came from. So of course the sample is what brought me back to this song. So I was like, just paying homage to him and his original song.
Gotcha. I do like that when, with all the sampling, you're like, what is that? Like, it's a great, unexpected way to kind of find new
And I was like,
artists.
I remember this. So it was just everywhere on the radio growing up.
Nice. All right. Any more thoughts you have about this song, this artist, your your memories? All right, let's move on to the next one. This one I am familiar with. This is Driver's License by Olivia Rodrigo, released on Sour on Geffen Records in 2021.
Yeah. I think if you don't know or haven't heard this song, then you've like really been living under like a rock because I feel like
Right?
it just blew up everywhere. And honestly, when we said cars, I thought about this song immediately. I was like, driver's license. And even if you don't like this kind of music, which I typically don't, I
Hmm.
know all the lyrics. It's like, it was one of those songs that it's like you learn through osmosis because then everybody was talking about it. And I actually listened to the whole album because I was like, I mean, this is like teenage angst from Gen Z. I need to know what Gen Z is like feeling. And then I was like, I still had a car at the time. I don't drive, but I was like, wow. I feel like this is definitely how I would have felt at 17 if, my boyfriend would have left me for somebody else, right? Um,
Absolutely.
Yeah. And she's such a Pisces. Like Olivia Rodrigo's a Pisces, and I feel like she's like the epitome of Pisces. So like you like really feel that depth, that water depth in these songs. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of those albums like early on there was so much conversation about it. I was like, well, I have to listen to it. And it's really good.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I listen to a decent amount of pop music, but a lot of things I don't like because they're popular. I'm one of those
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, but I was really impressed with this album.
Yeah,
And
and she
like,
has a great like from start to finish, it has a good order.
yeah, absolutely. And I loved the memes that were like, just a 30-year-old teenager listening to
Yeah.
Olivia Rodrigo.
Yeah,
And I think that
yeah.
really speaks to how well it resonated with people.
I mean, I know like grown people, like really grown people that were like resonating with this song, right? I feel like this chorus too is so brilliant because it's like who hasn't gone through this, like you're in your car and you're thinking about your ex and like you're at the red light and you're feeling that like dread and you might see them and like they're still kind of like ghosts, right? Like they're kind of like
Mm,
their ghost is everywhere. But yeah, and this is so it's like innocent, but it still has that like that thing that resonates with all of us, that like connection to like our significant others, which are those mundane moments where love actually lives. Like, you're just in the car laughing. I mean, she has another one about like ice cream, like sharing ice cream, and
mm.
I'm like, ooh, that one, like, oh, are you like picking out ice cream with her now and things like that? And I'm like, yeah, that stings. But yeah,
Yeah. Greg,
that's
did this album reach you or is pop
I
off your
definitely
radar?
well, I've heard this song, and I'm not too familiar with her music to be honest, but she definitely reminds me of Joni Mitchell and
Mm,
maybe a little Fiona Apple, but
yeah,
Fiona Apple was like a sledgehammer, you know what I
mm,
mean?
right.
yeah.
Tori Amos, you know? Um, but yeah, very good. I'm going to have to get a little deeper on that. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice. All right, next song is on. It is Galaxy 500 by Reverend Horton Heat. It was released on Lucky 7 on Sheridan Square Entertainment in 2002. This is my pick. Um, this is a newer song. This is obviously not related with my dad. He did not get into rockabilly and psychobilly. But so Reverend Horton Heat, I honestly can't remember when I first heard them. I think it was just a deep dive into the genre because I was like, I'd recently heard about it and was like, oh, this sounds interesting. Let me explore it. And I think Reverend Horton Heat in particular is kind of like my version of country. He's from Texas. There are a lot of the same themes, like there are songs about getting left by his girlfriend and all of his music equipment being left in the rain on the front lawn, that sort of thing. But I really like the kind of rockabilly roots in this type of music. Like I get that rock fix, but it also a lot of it is more playful, which is what I really like about music. And then the Galaxy 500, it's a Ford model, which you know nobody cared about Ford in my house growing up, but it's that kind of style.
Right, right.
Although I will say, there was someone I went to high school with that on his 18th birthday, he went and got the Ford logo tattooed on his bicep. So, like, there's a lot of love for Ford in the area.
And poor life choices.
That's amazing.
Yep. I wonder what he thinks about it now.
I remember hearing these guys for the first time in the early 90s when they were on Sub Pop out of Seattle. And,
Nice.
being a fan of like 50s rock and roll everything, I'm like, oh yeah, this is great. And the Stray Cats, of course, like more of the Meteors, Stray Cats, more modern rockabilly bands that kind of paved the way for the Reverend. Not that he didn't earn it, those guys have been slugging it out since the early 90s. So, seen them live a few times. My buddy Haas is their drum tech.
Oh, nice.
Any band that tours with Motorhead, seriously, that's a feat into itself.
Excellent. Yeah, there's something about the vibe that just feels kind of homey to me, I think. Like the combination of the love of cars and the rock. I'm going to end up talking about my dad a lot on this show, so. All right, that is the end of round 2. We're going to do a quick promo. Discourse is produced in partnership with Hey Awesome Girl, a full-service marketing and creative studio on a social mission to help female entrepreneurs build and grow companies that empower their lives. Become a part of their awesome community at heyawesomegirl.com/grow. All right, let's get into round 3. This is Manny, Mo, and Jack by the Dickies. It was released on Dawn of the Dickies on Mercury Records Limited in 1979. Greg, tell us about it.
All right. This was recorded way before I got into the Dickies in 2003, but this is one of the songs that was a staple in our set. So we played it every single night. It was a lot of fun to play. Crowd always loved it, sang along. For those who don't know, Manny, Mo, and Jack are the mascots for the Pep Boys auto parts chain. So it's just a lot of fun, like all Dickies songs, not political, just a lot of fun and a lot of silliness. And probably my favorite part of the song, while playing it live, is one of our guitar players, Little Dave. Him and I would we would study old live ZZ Top videos and steal all their stage moves.
Nice.
So we would like rehearse backstage, like come up with ideas and stuff, but we wouldn't tell any of the other guys in the band, and we just start playing, and we're doing like all these synchronized steps and stuff and twirling guitars and all that. So a lot of good memories, a lot of fun, always fun.
Excellent.
And it's car related.
Perfect. Yeah, so I didn't know the Dickies before I met you, so thank you for introducing me.
Oh, yeah, it's another one of those bands. Either like
Yep.
you love them or you never heard of them.
Yeah, I mean, the music is so much fun. You had to have a blast playing with them.
It was a lot of fun. There was a lot of with any touring band and any band like that. There's a lot of not fun stuff, but it was
sure.
mostly fun for sure. And the guys are still playing. We're still friends. So the next time they swing through and they're by you, I strongly suggest you go see them. They got a great band to this day, and they're still writing new songs too. So
Excellent.
you know, after the Ramones stopped playing, the Dickies are the longest uh, playing American punk rock band, and the first punk rock band ever. Oh, first American punk rock band signed to a major record label.
Oh,
So
wow. That's pretty impressive.
kind of cool
Yeah. And you were a part of it. That's really
for
cool.
a brief time. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was awesome. It was an awesome experience.
Excellent. All right. This next song is I Drove All Night by Celine Dion. It was released on One Heart on Sony Music Entertainment in 2003.
Yeah, this was my pick.
Yeah, it's out of order. Sorry.
And yeah, and this was actually, I have a really like crazy story with the song. So my mom is a diehard Celine fan, and so am I. And I used to listen to her a lot as a kid, but I was maybe 23, and this song came on, and I couldn't listen to it for a while because I caught my ex cheating on me as I drove up to his house, and I had this
What?
blasting in my car. And like as I drove into his like I don't know, his driveway is the word in English. As I drove into his driveway, he's like walking out with this other girl. And I'm like, the fuck? And this is playing in the car. It's like the soundtrack to your cheating situation, you know? It's kind of like a Hallmark movie moment, you know?
Wow.
And that was like a very dramatic moment because I actually threw a watermelon at his head, and the watermelon, he's bald, and like the watermelon like dripped down, and like Celine is playing in the background in the car, you know? And
Oh
so,
my God.
yeah. So
FA and
I had to
FO.
include
Yeah.
it. I
That
mean, I
is
laugh about it
fantastic.
now, but it was a horrible time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
So, is this like you can't stand to listen to the song because
no,
of
no, I
that?
love it now. I love it now.
Okay.
I definitely had like PTSD about it for a while, and I had to take a break from Celine. But now I'm
Oh,
back to, to loving her, and yeah. And she's still one of my favorites, and like that I feel like at least for me, I play my favorite music when I'm driving or when I'm cleaning my house or cooking, like doing any of those three things. And this song is definitely like on my cleaning playlist. Like I'll, like
mm,
scrub the floors to it because it's like poppy,
excellent.
but it's got that like she still has that like 90s thing in her, including these like little
Mm.
techno rhythms in there.
And it's got a good beat. I can see like keeping
Yeah.
you motivated while you're cleaning.
Yeah.
That's good.
It'll keep you motivated to, break a watermelon on a cheating ex.
Yeah. Oh wow, he totally deserved that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
My
you just
friends
like had a
now.
watermelon in your car?
No, it was Valentine's Day. I missed that. So it was Valentine's Day, and
Oh
he was like
damn.
really into watermelon at the time. And for some reason, I got up super early. I just had one of those like little witchy moments where I was like, I don't know why, but I feel like I should buy a watermelon and head to this person's house. And lo and behold,
Wow.
caught in action. So I had the watermelon, and I was like, here's your freaking Valentine's Day breakfast.
Wow.
Yeah. And all the neighbors were like passing by and like, yeah, horrified.
Yeah, that
How
sounds
you
like
know?
the perfect storm, but I'm glad you
Yeah.
can still listen to it
It's a
now
good
and
story
enjoy it.
now.
Yeah.
And
I'm
I'm
glad
like
you've been able to
usually really
heal.
chill, but I feel like it's like everybody deserves like a little rage moment with Celine in the background.
Absolutely.
I really want to, really.
All right. So next we have Sittin' Sideways by Paul Wall featuring Big Pokey. It was released on The People's Champ on Atlantic Records in 2005.
Yes, this was the first song on, or first single on that album. And when it came out, still couldn't drive, but definitely saw like Fast and Furious, um, and learned about like hydraulics and things and cars like that. And so sitting sideways is when you have like the rear tires are touching the ground, but the front tires are up on the hydraulics, and your car is like leaning a bit to the side, so it allows the driver, everybody in the car, to literally sit sideways. Um, and this song is, I feel, a personification of Houston rap, especially Paul Wall representing Houston, um, and just like the attitude you have when you know your car looks nice, it's customized to the T. I really like car customization. I grew up watching um,
Yeah.
Pimp My Ride, and this song makes
Yeah.
me think of Pimp My Ride, and just that whole era of all those crazy putting a fish tank in your car. Like, why do you need
Yeah.
fish in your car?
Oh,
But
that show is so
just like,
ridiculous.
right? But just like the attitude of having a car that can kind of dance to music, and those different competitions where people would try to out jump other people's cars. That was also wild, but the energy there and just how people could have entire cultures built around their car's personality to match them. I always think that's so cool. And you can see that in this kind of music video as well. Of course, like Fast and Furious, when one of the characters, I think her name is Suki, she had a pink car with some um, anime character on the car, and I thought that was the coolest thing. So I'm definitely interested in like rapping cars, and hopefully pimping out a car to match my personality. So that's what I thought about when I was picking this song.
Nice. I like that. It is like, God, that takes me back to like the height of MTV and their like the Cribs show and Pimp My
Yes,
Ride. Like, it was so ridiculous on everything. Like, they had to like fake a lot of that, right?
yes, like some of those costumes
Okay.
are vintage, not owned.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow. I hadn't
yeah.
heard that. That makes sense.
And so they're like, oh, this is my house, or this is my ride. And it's like, it's too expensive now that I have a mini fridge in my back seat to keep this
Yeah.
going. But
Oh, goodness.
still colorful and vibrant, and a rich history there. And people customize their cars to express who they are as soon as they're, riding around, traveling, car shows, things like that.
Yeah, I do like that. I have bats. Actually, I bought my car partially because it already had bat decals on the back. I'm like, well, it's the model I was looking for, and it was like a mile from my house. I'm like, this is perfect. It's meant to be.
Oh, Miss Me, yes. I love
Yeah,
that.
I like the customization people do. It is cool. Ooh. All right, this is the last song, Highway Star by Deep Purple. It was released on Machine Head on Warner Records in 1972. So this is another song I know because of my dad. But it's like, I feel like it's like the penultimate like road song. Like, there are a lot, I thought about doing like I Can't Drive 55, Sammy Hagar, but I had to go with this one. Like, just the vocals and like that driving kind of track on it, like you can't go wrong. It's fantastic. Um, Also, random connection. I was watching The Expanse, the sci-fi show, which is a great show. But there was a scene on it where there were people like racing spaceships. Like, they had these little speedster ships, and they were like, I think they were using gravity to like speed things up and everything. And they were playing a cover of the song, like just the instrumental from it, and it was perfect. It was so exciting for me. Um, but yeah, great song. Also, The Expanse show. I really like science fiction. I don't know if anybody else does. But they did a great job, like creating this future universe based on ours. So everything is like divided by classes. So the working class all moved to the asteroid belt because we're mining ore from the asteroids, and that like creates all these differences in health. So like they can't go to planets because they don't have the bone density. So there are all these like complicated things with that. And then the rich elite all live on Mars because they could afford to move there. And then like the middle class is still on Earth. So like it's really interesting how they kind of expanded kind of our society to fit a broader thing. I really like how they did that. But it's excellent.
I love that, and
Amazing
it does
song,
sound like a
for
racist
sure.
song.
Right? Like, oh, this riff right here? Yes.
So John Lord got this sound. He used to plug his Hammond B3 organ into a Marshall guitar stack.
Yeah?
So you can hear that distortion. He's playing through a guitar amp. That's why it sounds like that. That's the Deep Purple sound.
Nice.
Especially right here.
Mm-hmm. It's like a... Oh, how would you describe that kind of feeling?
A meat grinder.
Meat grind? Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Meat grinder strapped to a bulldozer going through a building.
Excellent. All right, well, I think we'll wrap up the show now. That was an excellent playlist, if I do say so.
Fantastic.
Definitely.
Thank you, Greg, for joining us.
You're very welcome. Pleasure was all mine.
So I pick a winner at the end of each episode. I'm gonna give it to you because you're still like super cool.
Okay, awesome.
Thanks for joining. Thanks for being you and bringing a little of that music energy to us.
Well, thank you for the invite, honestly, and anytime I would love to come back. But just a warning, if you have me on for a politics theme, all three of my picks are going to be dead Kennedys. I'm telling you that right out of the gate.
That's perfect. I support that.
Okay, cool.
So where can people find you online?
I'm just on Instagram, so it's just GH_customs.
Excellent.
And it's mainly Hot Wheels related, but sometimes I do music posts and stuff, and there might be more of that in the future. There's some local guys trying to, just like The Godfather, trying to pull me back in.
Excellent.
So we'll see if I'm there yet. I had to take a break from it, but we'll see. I might be ready to jump back in. So.
Okay. Well, we'll be back with another episode every week, so be sure to hit subscribe. You can follow us everywhere at Discourse Podcast. That's Discourse with 2 C's. And of course, we have the playlist with all of the songs from this episode on Spotify and Tidal. You've been a wonderful audience. Good night.